What up, guys? I'm former UFC fighter and current owner of Easton Training Center, Elliot Marshall.
I'm Scott Nickel, teaching pastor at Flatirons Community Church.
Scott, am I fucking going to hell?
Yes.
Welcome to the Saint
And the Sinner.
Alright, welcome back everybody to, this is now episode 5 of the Saint and the Sinner. And thanks for listening, and thanks for all the Facebook dialogue and things like that. And I would say, if you've been listening, and I keep having people come up to me in different places, and maybe you have too, saying they've been listening and things like that. And if you have, maybe share this on Facebook or something like that. You know,
for sure.
Let the word get around a little bit.
We would love to have as many people listening as possible.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So it's Monday morning. I was teaching at church this weekend. What'd you do this weekend?
What did I do this weekend? My baby is teething, so we were up all night. That was great.
Yeah, we've been up all night too. I'm not sure what Bo's excuse is, but
yeah. So Simon's teething, so we've been up a little bit, but it's okay. My wife worked, so I did a little cooking. I like to cook. I like to get the grills out. I think I got all 3.
Yeah, grills. You have 3. We were at your house the other day, and you got 3 grills, all of which you use.
And I got all 3 of them out this weekend. I used 2 of them at the same time yesterday.
Nice.
You know, so
does that make up for? In your mind, we talked about this. We both have major mechanical deficiencies. We're not too handy. So is the grilling overcompensation for a lack of mechanical abilities? Perhaps
not at all, because I could care less about the mechanical abilities.
Too.
I don't care.
Yeah,
I've got a nice job. I'm not rich by any means.
Yeah.
And when my car breaks, I'm going to take it to somebody.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
And I'm going to let them fix it because they know how to do it. When somebody needs to come learn jiu-jitsu, come on over. I will show you that. I have my skill sets that I'm very good at, and I'll just be happy with those skill sets.
Yeah, when I have things around the house that I have to do, I usually call Hank here.
Nice. So, yeah. And it's fine that if you do know how to do it, because some people are into that stuff.
Yeah.
You know? We built a shed in my backyard.
You built it?
Yeah, you see the shed that's in the backyard?
Yeah.
I didn't fucking build it. Hell no.
Yeah, that's what I thought you just said. Though.
But we did. As I probably hammered a couple nails here or there or helped something. You know? Yeah. We actually ended up, my wife did a little bit, we paid my brother-in-law a little bit, and we get done with it, and she looks at me and she goes, "That sucks." And I'm like, "What do you think was going to happen?" We built it. You know? Yeah. And we probably spent half the money that you would have at the Home Depot buying a nice shed,
right? But
you're talking about $1,000 or $2,000. So if you've got $1,000, then you've got $2,000. It's not like $1,000 or $10,000, you know. And I was like,
yeah,
should have just bought it. But she did fix it, you know. She did fix it a little bit, and it does look nicer and it works better. And
my great accomplishment was a trampoline this past year.
Nice.
And I called Hank and said, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, like 10 being like incredibly hard, I shouldn't even try, 1 being like piece of cake, what is a trampoline? I think he said a 2. Didn't you tell me it was a 2?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he lied. It was not a 2. It was at least a 5. It was at least a 5. And I was doing it in between watching Kentucky basketball during the tournament just to take my mind off of it and things like that. So I go out there at halftime and work on it a little bit. But it was a rough experience. But my kids they're alive. They survived.
Great.
So, this weekend also there was some fights in New Zealand.
Neil Magny, Nate Marquardt, hell yeah, get it, fellas.
Yeah,
good job.
Both won.
Both finishes.
Got to ask you, were you awake when we got that text from Vinny? Because
I was.
I was just starting to wake up. I used to getting texted by Vinny Lopez at 6:30 in the morning. He's turning over a new leaf.
What's he doing waking up so early?
He has his own business now.
Yeah, but we talked about this already. Remember, he shows up at like 9:30.
He tries to send his wife in for the early.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. He's turning over a new leaf, but I got the text. It was a group text to us about Neil and Nate both having won. So that was a pretty big deal, man.
Yeah,
especially for Nate. He needed the win.
Nate needed the win, man. Nate needed the win. He looked really well. I actually just got off Facebook with him. He almost did this move that we've been working on.
Oh, yeah?
For a while. He was real close to it.
From top mount?
From top side control. From top half guard.
Okay.
I can't share the secrets exactly what it is.
Sorry.
You train at a different school.
Hey, I got my 3rd stripe.
Nice. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Watch out for me now.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm. So he almost
so he almost did, and he sent me the message, and he goes, I had it, and then I decided to throw a big elbow and miss, and almost get my back taken. So we had a nice laugh, but you know, it was good. You know,
he looked good in all facets, man. His wrestling looked good, his striking looked good. That knee he delivered earlier was brutal.
Nice. Nate looked good.
And then he made the guy look like a white belt on the ground. You know,
and Neil won and knocked the guy out. So I'm happy for Neil as well. It's crazy. I don't know how Neil fights.
Me neither. He's one of the nicest guys I've ever met.
Nate's a really nice guy. Yeah. You can look in Nate's eyes and be like, oh, he's got some inner anger there. You know what I mean? You can see it. Where Neil, he's just so happy and nice. You're like, how do you punch somebody?
Yep.
You know, and this was his problem.
He was
early in his UFC. You know, in his career, he was just too nice. And we sat down in the office one day. He's like, what do I got to do? I was like, you need to beat people up, man. He's like, I try in the fight. I'm like, no, not in the fight, man. In practice.
Yeah.
I was like, you're never going to do it in the fight if you don't do it here. And I was like, look, man, this isn't like my night class. When you come to Tuesday at 7 with all the other students, please don't beat them up if they can't.
Right.
You know what I mean? But at pro practice, so I'm like Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
Beat their ass. If they quit, then they quit. Who cares?
I like Neil. I think he's a good guy.
He's a super nice
guy. The one
guy.
thing I'll say about Neil, and I don't mean to call him out on a podcast or anything, is we were at the same wedding one time, and I expected better dancing out of Neil, and that's the stereotypical thing, I know, because he's black, and I was expecting him to get out on the floor and dance like a black guy, and he didn't. He danced like a white guy.
I've already gone down this route, and Neil got really mad at me. He wondered how I knew how bad of a dancer he was.
Well, maybe he could come on the podcast and redeem himself or something. I don't know. Maybe he'll punch me in the face, and I'll bring out the inner anger that we haven't seen yet.
For sure. What else happened this weekend? USA World Cup?
Yeah.
USA World Cup?
Yeah.
Moved on?
They moved on by the skin of their teeth, barely.
It doesn't matter, because all that matters is the advance. Yeah. You know, I listened to a bunch of stuff about people getting all up in arms. You don't win by losing, because we lost to Germany.
That's the way it's set up, though.
And yeah, you do, man. Yeah, you do. There's a lot. The Cleveland Cavaliers got LeBron for a while. You know? Yeah. Because they lost, so they won for a while. Yeah. The only reason people still talk about Cleveland because LeBron left.
Yeah. Well, the best thing to be in the NBA is either the best or the worst. You don't want to be in the middle. No. You know, you want to be the worst so you can get those draft picks, because one or two guys can change a whole franchise.
A whole franchise.
Yeah.
And the guys from 10 to 30 are interchangeable on the draft.
We were watching the Costa Rica Greece game yesterday.
Last night, man.
Yeah, that ended in that. Do they call it a shootout?
They call it PKs, penalty kicks.
I should know this. I was a college soccer player, you know.
Yeah. So I know you were vastly invested in your soccer career.
High-level university. Yeah. But yeah, that was exciting to watch. It was pretty cool. So I'm kind of with you on this stuff. If it matters, I'll watch it. That's why I like the Olympics. Yes. I won't turn around and watch most of those sports. I won't watch track and field any other time.
Nice.
You know?
Yeah, no way.
Yeah.
I'll watch the qualifiers for the Olympics. If you're going to go to the Olympics, sure. I'm actually really excited, Scott. I haven't told you this yet. So this is another reason why we might be able to be friends.
Is the jury still out?
I can't. So since I've been in Colorado, after I moved out of the dorms, after college, so the past 14 years now. Man, it's been that long. Getting old, right?
You're old.
So the past 14 years, I love the NFL. And I have nobody that lives nearly remotely that even likes the NFL a little bit.
Really?
Vinny, nobody. Nobody. That's my actual friend.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't talk to anybody about it. I just sit there by myself and watch football. Right? And you like football.
Yeah.
And we like sports.
Yeah.
And I said to my wife the other day, I was like, oh, damn, babe. I was like, I might have someone to watch football with every once in a while.
Yeah, there you go.
Because I have nobody. And we have kids the same age, so the kids could even play.
Yeah, and your backyard's like an adventure land.
Yeah, the backyard's nice.
Pretty cool.
The backyard is the whole reason we bought the house. Was all the houses in Superior are the exact same, which drives my wife insane. She constantly wants to tear stuff down in the house so that our house is different, so that nobody has the same house we have.
Yeah.
Right? It drives me insane.
We had this pool party last night for the church staff at the Broomfield Broomfield Bay.
Okay.
It's kind of like a water park,
Sure.
a redneck water park, but it was a lot of fun. And Silas, my 5-year-old, had been camping with my dad for the past couple days.
Okay.
And then prior to that, we went to your house. And so last night, as I'm putting him to bed, he was like, "Dad, this was the best week ever." We went to this friend's house who had the great backyard, and then I went camping, and then we played at the pool tonight, and then he passed out.
He had a good week.
Yeah, he had a good week. So I do want to ask this question, because I had this argument last week with some people, and I've had it before, as we're talking about sports and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
What in your mind constitutes a sport? And I'll lead in with the controversial statement. I don't think golf is a sport. Now, I played golf with my dad on Thursday night last week or something like that. I like golf. I don't get to play it very much anymore because I have 4 kids, and my wife won't let me just disappear for 6 hours to go hit a white ball down a field, but every now and then I get to do it. But it's not a sport, and here's my contention. It's a very scientific reason. If you can smoke and drink and eat while doing it and still do it well, it can't be a sport.
Okay, so I doubt you golf well.
I'm pretty good, actually.
So I doubt you golf well.
I'm not bad.
So, yeah.
Do you play golf?
What's that?
Do you play golf?
No, but I have to. I told my wife when I was retired, we'd start golfing.
Does she golf?
She used to before me.
Yeah.
This BE, before Elliot. I used that.
The great dividing line of history. Poor Elliot. Everything changed.
It did for her, actually. Me too. Wow. For me too, it was different. So, Tiger Woods doesn't play golf better, drunk and eating and smoking, right? You might.
I mean, you should try.
Because your realm of goodness and badness is probably right there, and it's way down this end that I suck, right? So, comparatively, you're probably better than me, but probably not that much better than me.
But I've been to the Ryder Cup, and I've watched the highest level golfers smoke cigars, big beer bellies. There's some guys that smoke cigarettes. They don't show you on television
Cecil
anymore.
Fielder, Ty Cobb, Babe Ruth.
Ty Cobb was in good shape. Cecil Fielder was not.
Babe Ruth,
terrible. But he didn't do it while he was playing.
Yeah, he did.
In the dugout.
In the dugout.
That's different.
Hold on, man. They don't walk up to the tee.
Is bowling a sport?
Is bowling a sport?
No different than golf.
Golf is a sport.
Skill.
Bowling is a sport.
I maintain that it's a sport.
Oh,
You're saying bowling is a sport?
It is,
be
man.
friends.
It is. I don't know what I'm. The important stuff, like where we're going to end up together, that doesn't separate us. But golf and bowling has ended this podcast over. Done.
That's it. I maintain they're a skill of some sort. They are not a sport. That's my contention.
I just disagree because the line gets too hairy.
I'm drawing a good line.
No, because you have to use your body.
Yeah.
You have to use your body in an athletic type way.
Oh man.
You have to have hand-eye coordination.
Yeah, it helps to be athletic.
Yeah, but you need some athletic type qualities.
NASCAR.
Is NASCAR? No, man.
Horse racing.
Horse racing?
For the horse.
Yeah.
Although those jockeys are in good shape.
They're in good shape. They're in good shape.
That's an athlete.
They're in good shape.
You ever ridden a horse?
Yes.
One that runs?
It's hard.
Oh, it's hard. Terrifying.
Yeah, it's really scary.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So you gotta be athletic.
Yeah.
So horse racing, not a sport. Golf, a sport. You are so hypocritical here.
What coordination does the jockey need?
A balance.
Maybe, I don't know. Yes.
Balance and strength.
So horse racing might be a sport. Now that I think about it, but NASCAR, no, you're just stealing a car.
Yeah, and they're going to get mad.
Oh,
they're going to be like, dude.
You know a lot of your people are rednecks, man. You know a lot of your people are rednecks and they're watching NASCAR.
You're further alienating middle America.
They used to be okay with me, and now they aren't.
No, you made the Budweiser communism remarks a couple weeks ago, and here you are again, taking shots at the NASCAR.
I'm just a left liberal wine drinker.
I've never been to a NASCAR race. Hank has.
Is it fun?
It was. I went thinking it was going to be horrible. It was one of the most fun things. People got a bunch of dudes together and went to see it. It's the most open not sport. I think it is a sport. Those guys are pretty hardcore. You can go. It'd be like if you could go in the NFL locker room. You're just like walk around, high five people.
Yeah, but I'll be okay in the NFL locker room. My skin color is cool, bro. Am I gonna be? How's it gonna be at NASCAR?
I'm a man of color.
Yeah. How's it gonna be at NASCAR? Because I see those Confederate. You never see a NASCAR race without a Confederate flag in the stands, man.
No, you gotta.
I get a little scared.
Location.
You gotta play to your constituency a little bit. There's no black race car drivers in the NASCAR realm. I think there's maybe been some in Indy. I've been to the Indy 500 when I was a kid. That was cool.
I'm sure some things are really cool.
Yeah.
I got to tell a Confederate flag story real fast, or a racist story.
Right.
And then we'll get back to the sport thing. No. This is one of the most scared times I've ever been.
Yeah.
So I have my friend who, when I first started doing jiu-jitsu, his name is J Jack.
That's a good name.
J Jack is insane. If you want to understand, he has a podcast. It's called I don't remember what it's called, but I was on it once, and he's one of my best friends. We don't talk that much. That dude would literally, if I said, "Hey man, need you right now. Something happened to my wife and kids," no questions asked.
Yeah.
No questions asked. Just get out here.
Yeah.
And do whatever is necessary. So we first start being friends, and he's straight edge. So he takes me to this show.
Does he like put the X's on his hand?
Oh yeah. It's tattooed. Oh yeah, he was hardcore straight edge, and he hung out with only hardcore straight edge dudes. Mm-hmm. So he takes me to this concert that we're going to, where there's going to be these boxing fights.
Yeah.
Right.
Before the concert, in the middle.
In the middle, kind of. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we walk in. Back in the day, when they used to do like dumb boxing fights at bars.
Yeah.
Like tough shit
stuff.
So we walk in, and it's not just that. It's Nazis versus straight edge.
Seriously?
Mm-hmm.
Where was this at?
It was at the Ogden or something. In Denver. In Denver. Yeah, it was nuts, right? And have you ever been around a Nazi and a straight edge at the same time?
No.
They don't look any different, man.
Right.
They look the same. They look the same. And he wasn't fighting when we were going, right?
Yeah.
They look exactly the same, except he looks down and goes, dude, just look at the laces on the boots, man. It's way different. Like one's black and one's red. The Nazis are red and we're black. And it's pitch dark.
No,
it's pitch dark in this room. So I'm like, look at what, homie?
Yeah.
Look at what? So he goes, so what happened? Oh, a fight fell through.
Yeah.
And one of the fights was going to be canceled against this Nazi guy.
Yeah.
And Jay was like, no way, that guy's got to get beat up. He's like, I'll do it.
I'm in.
And I'm like, okay. And I start walking in the back with him. And they're like, you can't. And I know nobody else.
Yeah.
Nobody. So I don't know a soul. So he walks in the back and I'm out in the crowd.
You in college?
Yeah, I'm in college.
Okay.
I'm out in the crowd. And I look to my left and there's some white skinhead dude with a jacket and boots on.
Yeah.
And I look to my right and it's the same thing. And he wants me to differentiate
between the two.
Huh. Right?
Yeah.
So he walks out there and knocks this guy out with the first punch. And everyone just starts going nuts, right? And I don't know where to go. I am scared shitless, right? I am scared shitless because it looks like there's about to be a brawl in the crowd. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know who to fight or who's going to protect, who's going to help me.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh my God, I am done. And this was like one of the last times I've ever gone somewhere in public with him, because I was like, dude, don't ever do that to me again. Right. That was retarded. That was retarded. I've almost never been, at that point, I'd never been so scared in my entire life.
Right. I've never been around skinheads, like real ones, I don't think.
These were real ones.
When I was a kid and I lived in Dallas, I remember my mom was taking me through I think it was the bank drive-thru or something, and the KKK were standing in the intersection, handing stuff out. Yes. It was mind-blowing. It was really scary as a kid. I was like 7 or 8 years old. Like, those dudes are
crazy, yeah. All right, let's get back to the sport thing.
All right, so
you asked the question for a reason. You led into it for a reason.
Well, I just want to know where your line was, but also, you and I are both CrossFitters, which may or may not help our podcast. It's a very polarizing topic these days for some reason. Maybe we can talk about that. But it's moved from just being CrossFit to the sport of fitness. So there's kind of two sides to it. And there's those who like to kind of make fun of that idea. Cody Donovan is one of the first to always make fun of and go, I want to be the best at working out.
They're all going to be like me. When they retire from fighting, they're all going to do CrossFit
or something just like
they might call it X-Fit, or Cody might call it Cody Fit, or Zombie Apocalypse Fit, because he's all into the zombie shit.
He's a nerd.
So that's great. Whatever, they're all going to do something very similar to it, because it's great.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
it's really great.
Here's the thing I think people have to understand. Like, of course there are annoying CrossFitters out there. Of course there are annoying things that people do in the CrossFit world. But part of the reason... It breeds
it a little bit, though.
It does.
It does breed it a little bit, yeah.
But part of the reason is because people actually get results from CrossFit.
It's
and
crazy.
There's so much crap out there when it comes to the fitness world that doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And then when people come across something where all of a sudden they are losing weight when they needed to lose weight, they're gaining strength, they're getting muscular, they're able to do things they were never able to do since like elementary school.
Do you know how hard it is for a girl to do a pull-up?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, remember the presidential fit test back when we were kids? Girls didn't have to do it. They just had to do the static hold, right? You know
how hard that is?
Yeah.
And girls, and CrossFit gets girls to be able to do pull-ups.
Right.
And everyone goes, oh yeah, but you're cheating, you're doing the kipping.
Right.
But the kipping helps you get to a normal pull-up.
Right.
Right?
Absolutely.
Because all they want to do is one. Right? It changes their life. Like, you should see these girls go from not even coming close to doing a pull-up to doing a pull-up.
Yeah.
Here's my thing with CrossFit. If you can find a ninja strength and conditioning coach like Lauren Landau,
you're good.
You should, by all means, go work out with Lauren Landau.
Yeah. And you're going to see amazing similarities.
Yes. No.
I think so in regards to intensity and things like that.
No.
A great strength and conditioning coach.
Mm-mm.
Really? Because some of the things I've done with those guys, I'm like, this is very similar.
Some of them. Yeah. So he has a Metcon day.
Right.
Metabolic conditioning, you know? But he also does a lot of other things. He's a ninja. Yeah. He is an absolute ninja, right? But, man, his schedule's packed.
Yeah, and
he's as busy as can be.
Afford him, right?
Yeah. And you can't necessarily afford him. Yeah. Tim Tebow worked with him.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So, man, if you can find that, then great. By all means, go do it. Second tier strength and conditioning coaches suck. Mm-hmm. They suck.
Mm-hmm. And they're a dime a dozen.
And it's easy to do. They're terrible. Mm-hmm. Right? CrossFit has taken a style of programming and made it work. Mm-hmm. Right? And this is what people think, a misconception. This was mine, because I used to be a hater too, until I drank the Kool-Aid. This is people's misconception about CrossFit, and I saw this on someone's Facebook the other day. Man, doing 100 snatches doesn't make you strong, dude.
Right.
Yeah, no kidding.
Right.
We don't think we're getting strong. When the workout says 30 snatches for time, right. I'm not like, oh yeah, I'm going to get strong
today. Workout today, yeah.
What do you think, we're stupid?
Right. Right.
You know?
Right.
And then they go, oh yeah, you're doing that as a heavy of a weight as you can possibly do, huh? No.
Yeah,
not at all.
Well, there are those guys out there. That's one of the problems with CrossFit too. If you want to find the stupid CrossFitter or the really bad gym that hurts people, you can find it. You know, I mean, they're out there. I mean, I think you told me it was like 120 gyms in Denver.
132.
That's crazy. I mean, that's unbelievable. When I started CrossFit almost 5 years ago now, so I'm like an OG when it comes to CrossFit.
There you are.
Hank even goes further back than me, and so. But there was Roots in Denver, or in Boulder. There was one other one in Boulder, and then there was a handful in Denver, and so it just was not that big of a deal. There was a handful of places you can go, and it has exploded. And with that explosion comes, some pretty bad gyms and some pretty bad trainers.
This is the problem with CrossFit. I am the problem with CrossFit, even though
I agree, and I know where you're going with this, but yeah.
I got my level 1 certification, which means that I could go teach CrossFit before I had ever even done a CrossFit class.
Yeah, and how long was the level 1?
It was a weekend seminar.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do anything right. All you have to do is pass this written test.
Right.
I'm a really smart dude. Yes, it's true, even though,
Yeah.
So I could pass a test.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, I can teach CrossFit. I can go open my own CrossFit gym. And I did.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
I passed the test, opened my own CrossFit gym.
And then started doing CrossFit.
And then I started doing CrossFit.
Right.
I hired good people.
Right.
This is the difference.
You're not out there coaching.
I'm not the one. And I just started teaching, because I've been doing it a year now. Yeah. So I teach some level 2 classes. Yeah. And everyone goes, oh, wow, you're teaching the level 2 class, which is like normal CrossFit. Why did you do that? Because when you teach level 2, it's much easier than teaching beginners.
Because they know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing a little more. You can, you're doing this a little wrong, right?
Yeah.
So, I am the epitome of what's wrong. There should be some standardization, right? There should be some distance that each CrossFit gym has to be from each other.
Yeah, and headquarters just doesn't care about that stuff.
They try to use the evolutionary thing, which we're going to get into in a second.
The survival of the fittest.
You know, where they'll fade off.
But it's hurting their brand a little bit.
Yes, you know, natural selection might destroy the whole brand of CrossFit.
It could.
If they allow it to keep doing this. If they allow Joe Schmo, Elliot Marshall, to go open a CrossFit gym whenever the hell he wants to, and put it wherever the hell he wants to. And maybe if he can do some really good SEO, get a lot of people in there and hurt them.
Yeah. I mean, the reason I've stuck with it over the years is twofold. One is the results it gains, you know, and then the other is it's just fun to do it with a group of people, you know. I mean, you can't really find that anywhere else where you're all going through the same thing together. You're all, and it builds this kind of community and camaraderie that's pretty unique, you know, in the fitness industry where a lot of people are just kind of on their own with their machines, you know.
You suffer together.
Yep. And there's something.
It's like a team.
Yeah.
It's like a team, right? Like me and Nate and Cody and Shane and Brendan and Dwayne, right? We have this bond.
Right.
You know? We have this bond because we came through it a lot together.
Yeah.
You know? We're always going to be boys. Even if we don't see each other. Even if I don't even like you at some point for something. I don't know, which is not the case right now, right?
Sure.
But we'll always be boys because we beat the living shit out of each other.
Yeah.
You know? And it does something to you, that suffering. And I'm not comparing CrossFit to MMA. Please don't. I'm not even getting close to that. I'm not saying that CrossFit is harder than MMA or anything like that. No, it's not even close.
No, and I, you know, having not done MMA, you know, but, you know, starting in jiu-jitsu, I will say there's something dramatically different about standing on a mat facing another human being and going into some sort of, you know, battle with that person versus a barbell, because I can put the barbell down. That guy might not put me down.
My friend, so I have a friend who has run ultramarathons, 100-mile races,
and
100-mile races, and he's also fought MMA. And after his first MMA fight, he goes, I've been in his corner. He looks at me and he goes, "This is way harder than an ultramarathon."
I totally believe it.
And he looked, and I go, "Really?" And I was almost kind of shocked when he said it. I was like, "Why?" He goes, "Because in the ultramarathon, I can run until I can't run anymore, and then I can jog. And then when I can't jog anymore, I can walk. And then, you know, and it's all based on what I want to do."
Right. That guy,
that's not the case.
Can't control
if
him.
that guy doesn't want to slow down, I'm going to get the living shit kicked out of me, and that might not be fun.
That is the difference, and it does something different adrenaline
to your mind.
For sure. Yeah, it's taxing.
You think you actually think you might? There's a I might die right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and only having experienced this 3 times as a white belt in jiu-jitsu, you know, no striking, but I heard Joe Rogan say once, like, unless you are one of those people who you just have to fight, like, if you're going, I have to do this, like, this is what I eat, sleep, and breathe, this is what I want to do, you should not fight. So he was saying, like, all these guys out there who go, I just want to see what it feels like, go in there and have one MMA fight or whatever. He was like, I don't think you should do that, you know. And that kind of clicked for me. I was like, he's like, it's too big of a deal, you know, to just kind of throw your hat in the ring. If you want to go do a boxing match or something like that, you want to go compete in a jiu-jitsu tournament, maybe that's one thing. But to go, I want to go do MMA.
It's the rawest, most scary thing that you could do, other than go to war.
Yeah.
Like, go to war. I haven't done it. I don't want to do it.
Right.
I don't plan on doing it. MMA, I dropped an F-bomb earlier. I'm going to drop another one.
Yeah.
Is fucking scary.
Yeah.
You have never been so scared in your entire life as before you're going to fight.
Yeah. I mean,
you find out exactly who you are. When that cage door shuts, you can't lie. You cannot lie about what you do in tough situations. You can't. It is going to glare through.
Yep.
And every man can be broken, and you get broken. And when you get broken, it's not a fun feeling.
not at all. We had that conversation in the locker room here a while back.
It is not a fun feeling.
Yeah. All right, we're halfway in here, so I guess we got to dive into the heavy stuff. You really wanted to have this talk today. I was kind of like, I don't know that we're going to disagree that much, and then you're like, I think we really will.
I think we will, based on what you wrote on what you wrote on Facebook.
Yeah. So I want to shout out to John
We call him Papa John.
Okay, Papa John, great, smart guy who's been commenting on Facebook again.
Yeah.
I hope you don't get in trouble for being on Facebook too much with your job or whatever, but I think he's awesome. And then Ian, our boy Ian again, he's a Facebook ninja, and so I finally invited him to just go grab a beer.
I saw.
Yeah, so maybe we can do that.
We'll set that up.
Yeah,
we'll set that up for sure.
So those guys have been all over this, and then some other people. There's been some good comments, but
so this all started with a video that got posted.
Yeah,
with a video.
And I think that video is a small part of a bigger video that's called Evolution versus God. And
I don't know, but there's a couple videos floating around the internet of these ultra religious guys.
Ray Comfort, I think, was that guy.
And there's another one.
Yeah.
Vinny posted one.
Yeah, just like some dude in his
truck. Yeah. Saying that evolution has never been observed.
Mm-hmm.
So why do we believe it? And unfortunately, the fact of that matter is that's just false. That is 100% false. But first, I need to hear what your actual beliefs on evolution are. Because unless I misread what you wrote, if I misread what we wrote, then I don't know what we're going to talk about the past 20 minutes. It's over this week.
So it would be funny to say that I have evolving beliefs on evolution, but that is somewhat the case. As again, I've researched this stuff at different points in my life along the way, and the beauty of science is it's new and it's different all the time. So we're learning new things all the time, and so as new information has come down the pipe, different arguments that once felt like they held up or didn't hold up, things change with that.
Just spit it out, man. Did God create man as man?
Oh, that's your question? Did God create man as man? So I believe that he did. Now, I believe there are possibilities in there that a Christian can have, and your boy Francis Collins, you're listening to his book, The Language of God, right now. He believes, based on DNA evidence, and that's his field of, he mapped the human genome, that's his deal,
We're going to argue, don't worry, everybody.
He believes based on...
We disagree.
He believes based on the DNA evidence and the fossil evidence, which is less conclusive. The DNA evidence is even... that I would hang my hat on that if I were... a staunch evolutionist or whatever. He believes based on that man did come from primates, that they did evolve from primates, that it wasn't just one man, one woman. He would say there was somewhere in the neighborhood, I think I'm getting him right, 15,000 or maybe 150,000 humans at the same time. I may be wrong on that.
I don't remember. I haven't gotten there yet.
But anyway, he would say it's not one man, one woman. They did evolve, and at that point, when man became human, God decided to endow his image on human beings, and we became self-aware, and we became spiritual. We had a soul, all that kind of thing. So that's his argument. I'm not actually there.
And he goes all the way back to we evolved from one thing.
Yes.
He's not sure. I got this part, but he doesn't think that God created a primate either. He thinks a primate evolved from something else, which evolved from something else.
Correct.
So there's a lot of people out there.
I'm not quite where he is.
I understand you're not quite where he is. I still think he's wrong with the God and doubt, because that's just the biggest jump in the world. And this is my problem: is you have to take these huge jumps to get to God everywhere you do.
Well, but the only problem with that, because that's the God of the gaps argument.
Yes.
I don't like that either. I don't think it's just too convenient. But you do have to deal with the fact that we are self-aware. We do have this natural hunger towards spirituality. We do have this moral law that we see.
Our brains are just more developed. Our brain, we have a bigger brain that can think about things more than the ape, right? That can think about things more than a whale. That can think about things more than a salamander. That can think about things more than a bacteria. Who can think about things more than an amoeba, than a single cell. So yeah, we're more aware. So we think about the question of where did we come from comes up.
Yeah, which is odd. I mean, you have to admit that's an odd thing.
Well, let's see what happens if we're still around in another 20 million years.
Yeah.
What they're thinking about.
Yeah.
So here we go. You're wrong.
All right.
You're just wrong. And I know everyone's like, oh, you're killing his eye. That's not how you argue. There's no basis of evidence whatsoever
for
creationism. There's not a single shred of evidence that says that can show that God created man from dust. Now, I'm very passionate about this argument. I'm very passionate.
But what did all of this come from?
Oh no, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. No, right. So Francis's argument, that's his name, Francis, right? His argument is pretty good as far as the where did it come from until he jumps to God, right? But because we don't know, we just simply plain don't know.
We got to jump to God, or you jump to something else.
Something else, and so I am very willing to say that yes, it could have been God.
Yep.
That started the whole big thing, the Big Bang.
Yeah,
for sure. That created Earth, maybe. If you made the creation of the universe, then you made the creation of Earth, right?
Yeah, something doesn't come from nothing, but yet something did come from nothing.
Something happened. I don't know the answer. Could it possibly be God? Yes. Now, we've had the argument. I don't know how in the world you get to the all-powerful, omnipotent God from there.
We'll get back to that.
We'll get back to that another day. I have no clue. I stopped the F-bomb. I have no clue how you get there.
Are you trying to hold yourself to like one F-bomb?
No, I'm at two already. I'm at two this podcast.
Okay.
So, look, and the reason I'm so passionate about this argument, it makes us dumber. The United States has dropped to 38th in the world in education. And there's a reason for that. It's because 53% of this country is teaching their children to not look at actual evidence. That all of it, the fossil record, the DNA, all of it, every single thing points to evolution. There isn't a shred, minus the Bible. There isn't a shred, which I know you put all of your stock in.
Here's one thing I would like to clear up. I don't go to the Bible for scientifics. Like, I don't go to the Bible going, I think what the Bible's trying to communicate to me here is science. I don't go to there for that. And so even the phrase, like that video we watched that the guy put on Facebook, it was called Evolution versus God. That's the problem, is that it's been posed this way. And what that does is it creates this foxhole mentality where people like dig their heels into one belief, one set of beliefs, and I'll continue to indict my own team here further, is that
real fast, one of the problems, you can keep going, one of the problems with your own team is they're not even all on the same page.
Well, but that's true of a lot of teams, but sure.
Not mine.
Yeah, you guys are all over the map, too.
No, we're right here.
No, you guys are all over the map.
Anyway. Oh, no, not on this issue. Boom, done.
So our, this young Earth creationism belief is not as old of a belief as people like to say that it is. So, like, even Augustine, one of the early church fathers, was very, very adamant about, like, let's not draw big conclusions about the age of the Earth and things like that, because what we see in Genesis is really unclear about things like that. We don't need to stake our faith or anything else. We may learn all kinds of new things, and that's totally okay. Whether God uses a method like evolution to bring about, what we see before us right now, that's awesome. If that's what God wants to use, that's not necessarily conflicting. And I think what Christians have done, and this goes to your point about it makes us dumber. I think there's a lot of things that contribute to that. One of which is people who are scared to look at science because they're afraid it's going to take away their faith. And my contention is, and this is why I love Francis Collins and others so much, is that they go, no, let's dig in deeper, and as we do, we'll find that these things are not diametrically opposed to one another like that they've been positioned to. But people, this is back to the reason we're doing this podcast, is that people get so polarized in these things, and they have no ability to dialogue with one another, and you just get these. I don't like that video. I've commented on Facebook. I don't dig this guerrilla way of questioning people on the street, because I can do that.
Anybody can make this video. Papa John made this argument.
Absolutely.
I can make an argument. What do you want me to do?
This is Bill Maher is the example on the other side of the equation. I don't like it when he goes out and he picks on, he finds the dumbest Christian he can possibly find, and then he just makes them look stupid. Well, that's like me going into a first grade classroom and just making all the kids look stupid.
Yeah, no, it's easy. Those videos are dumb.
Yeah, I agree.
So, it makes us dumber.
But I agree we should be looking at science, and I think one of the contributing factors to that is that we have a significant amount of people in our country who are afraid to look at it. And it's overwhelming. And
it's crazy. It literally is I don't know how they do it. I really don't understand how they can look at everything that's laid out in front of them. And partially people don't understand their terms.
Oh, yeah.
Right? People don't understand what a species is. People don't understand the difference between macroevolution and microevolution.
Yeah, and even scientists don't even like to really use the differentiation between macro and micro, because this is one of the things that Christians have used.
Yes.
To say we will observe microevolution, which is this adaptation. You know, Darwin's finches, the beaks get bigger and smaller. Whoop-de-frickin-do. Show me a finch that turns into
and show me a bird that turns into a person.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. That type of stuff.
Let me. For everyone that's listening, let me explain evolution as the best that I can. Okay? Evolution is not, there's a monkey and now there's a person. Right? Evolution is like a tree. It branches. Right? So it starts down here, and then it goes here, and then from there it goes there, and then from here. It just keeps branching and branching and branching. And you find all these little things, like one eventually you have a branch, the branch that's way down here, you might have a branch going all the way down here. That's something totally not where it started from.
Right, and it's totally different.
And it's totally different. Right. But it's not that different from its brother. Or from its mother.
Right.
Which isn't that different from its mother. Which isn't that different from its mother.
Right.
So one of the common questions that people ask is, if we came from monkeys, why are there still monkeys? We didn't come from monkeys, we came from a cousin of a monkey. Right? We didn't come from an ape. We came from we have a common ancestor that is now extinct.
Right.
Right? So everyone asks that question. There it is. Done. We didn't come from an ape.
Yeah.
Right? The second thing, this macro-micro thing, right? Which scientists don't like to use because it's bullshit. Kind of, for the most part.
Well, yeah, it's not to them. It's not an argument worth having, because over the course of enough time, you will see micro.
Yes, it's going to. Right. So people have asked me about it on Facebook, and about when we observed it, and I keep using this example of lizards. These lizards in Croatia.
Yeah.
Right.
And it doesn't carry much weight for a lot of people, because they're like, they're still lizards,
and this is right. They're still lizards.
Yeah.
Of course, they're still lizards. Lizards.
Enough time. Right.
No, lizard isn't a species.
Right.
Right? Lizard isn't a species. The species is something like Homo sapien, Homo erectus, right? Lizards still have that first, like we have Homo sapiens, and then there's Homo erectus, and before Homo there was Australopithecus, right? The second part of the word, sapien, is the species.
Right.
Erectus is the species.
Right.
The first part is the genus, right? And sometimes even the order is the same, or the phyla is the same, right? And I know I just got really technical there a little bit with those words, right? But you have to understand your terms before you can start thinking about having a discussion about evolution. So when you say that the lizards in Croatia, they're still lizards, yes, 100%. They're a different species of lizard. That is evolution. That is what we are saying. And it is not, if you want to use the term microevolution, it is not microevolution. That is macroevolution. One species moves into another species. Are both species still here? Yes. Right? Yes. And
that's like one dies out and then the other one takes over.
It doesn't necessarily happen that way.
Right.
One of them might die out.
It can.
Yeah, for sure. One of them might die out. Right? Like we've recently found hobbits. Right?
You know what I mean?
You know?
We've in New Zealand?
New Zealand, yeah.
Wonder if Neil and Nate saw any hobbits.
I don't know, right? Yeah. We've recently found fossils of them, you know? And man, I absolutely, and I'm reading your book, and I look.
I read a bunch of your books.
So, but this is why it's cool. This is why it's great, right? Because I'm not scared to read another book, and I actually learned from the book.
Yeah.
You know, I like parts of it, you know? I really kind of like the way he did the Big Bang. Because I was expecting him not to even believe in the Big Bang, which was interesting.
That's, again, the Big Bang's not scary.
No,
it shouldn't be.
Yeah, it shouldn't be.
Because, whatever method God, from our belief, whatever method God wanted this whole thing to start is great, you know?
I hear you. Where it gets scary, though, and where it gets scary is when you guys, you have this book, the Bible, right? And I know you keep saying the Hebrew interpretation of something like a day is Yom. Look.
Yeah.
It says what it says. It says day.
Sure.
Okay? Therefore, it's day. And if it said Jovim, hold on. If it said Jovim, was that the right word?
Om.
Yep. Okay, if it said Om, then they should have wrote a period of time when they translated it. Okay? So this is where you guys have a problem. Is some dude took that book and thought about how he wanted to write it.
Well, this keeps coming up.
Multiple dudes.
This keeps coming up, so I think we should have the podcast soon about biblical translation and how that works and things like that, because it's not that. That's not how it works.
So why is it okay? But it says day. So back to my point of why Christians have a problem, or any religion with their book.
Right.
Right. It says what it says, and you like to hang your hat on that book. Right? On a lot of things. On almost everything. Right?
On a lot of things, yeah.
But we keep finding these inconsistencies and these problems with it scientifically. But it does talk about science. It says that the Earth is the center of the universe. Not true.
Doesn't say that. That was another one of those interpretation issues that we ran into. You know, that's what I'm saying is like when people stake their ground on a literal translation of things that are obviously allegorical. Or so in the Bible you have different genres. You know, you have letters, you have allegory, you have prophecy, you have history, you have all these different things. So you have to read them through the lens that they were meant to be read through. And that's where we get into problems. And Genesis is hard because it's both history and there are parts where there are Christians who would contend that Genesis 1 and 2 was an allegory, and that Adam, so like a metaphor, so like that Adam is representative of men, Eve is representative of women, you know, things like that.
This is so hard because now you want to make these other laws in the world based on this book, and this book has these allegories.
So like what?
Do you want to teach my kid that evolution isn't true?
I don't want to teach him that.
But your team does.
Some in my team.
No, a lot in your team.
I will agree.
A lot in your team do.
It's one
the
of the
president of the United States of America from 2000 to 2008 wanted to teach intelligent design in schools. Well, right?
I don't have a problem with the idea of putting in front of kids. Here's two views. Now, here's evolution. Here's all this, and then I don't think intelligent design. There's some problems with intelligent design overwhelmingly, but to say that design demands a designer and all that kind of thing is a very valid thing, I think, to put in front of kids, and then go, you make your choice or make your call.
Yeah, so hold on. So that is not a very valid thing to put in front of kids. We need to put in front of our children what the actual evidence shows.
Both, I agree.
It doesn't. No, not both. Not both.
Because it's logical.
Intelligent design is somebody's opinion.
So,
intelligent design is 100% an opinion.
It's a very logical thing, though.
Evolution is not an opinion. It is not an opinion. And when I get into this argument with people, they go, that's your opinion. No, it is not my opinion. This is not my opinion, evolution. I didn't come up with it. I don't think it. We know it. We 100% know it. There isn't a shred of evidence that says it's anything different. Right. When you want to start teaching, when you want the president of the country to start implementing an intelligent design, it's going to lead to implementing a religion. Because he's a hardcore evangelicalist.
And I don't
he got elected twice because of the evangelical vote in this country, right?
Yeah, I mean that's another
story. That's another story, which kills me.
Get me to die on that.
I know, yeah.
But
I just had to put it out there a little bit for you to see if you were going to jump.
I know. We'll have an offline one before I just piss off as many people as possible. But
you're gonna be in trouble.
So we're cool because I'm in Boulder, so I think half our church is one way and half's maybe the other way.
But hold on, let me finish the point with that. And I don't want to get into politics. And I don't want to get into George Bush, right?
Sure.
But
you did.
But I did a little bit, right?
Big mean guy.
That is not okay, right? This is what leads back to it makes us.
I would not be okay.
Dumber.
I would not be okay with teaching intelligent design at the exclusion of teaching what we know about evolution, and at the same time to teach what we know about evolution with the truth being there's a lot of things we don't know about it. There are some not. I don't have a problem with evolution. I really don't. But I wouldn't want to teach only evolution and then take kids all the way back to there was this big bang And then the kid goes, but something doesn't come from nothing. So what was before that? Well, there is a view that says there's a designer.
Yeah, but
why
that's
can't you say that?
Why? Because you don't know, and now you're going to teach them.
You don't know either.
I know, and that's my answer.
So you just go with I don't know.
We don't know. We don't have the evidence of that yet. Who knows? That's the answer.
Listen, I'm all for, I think our educational system sucks. I really, really do. And we'll have that podcast one of these days too. And I think the fact that our country's so far behind in science and math is
falling behind.
Is really
behind. And getting farther and farther away. And there's two reasons for it. I listened to another good one. The other reason why we're falling behind in science and math.
What?
We don't say the numbers correctly. Our verbiage of the numbers. 1 through 10 is good. 11, 12, 13 is fine. And then we go 14, 15, 16, 17, and then all of a sudden we switch it back to 21, 22, right? It flips.
Yeah.
You see it? You see the flip there?
Yeah.
So therefore, when kids are learning to count, they can't do it very well. Like, look, all of our kids, and they get to like 12 and 13 just fine.
They're good.
And then all of a sudden they mess up in the.
That's true.
I
thought about that.
They mess up from 14 to 20.
That's really.
And then they start getting 20 and on again, right?
That's interesting.
And so they have this really hard time. So just naturally, it turns them off to this number thing.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Where other countries like Asia, they don't do it that way. I don't know how they do it, but they keep it all.
Yeah.
They keep it all the same, so that nobody has this problem of speaking the number and realizing it and putting the words to the eye and going, oh, okay, that's 18, and that's another reason why. But one of the big reasons is because we refuse to look at evidence. We refuse to look at it, and it's all there. It's 100% there. There's no gap. There's not a single gap in evolution, right? And now people like to say, and I know we agree more than other people do, right?
Yeah.
People like to say there's a missing link. Of course there's
lots of
missing links, man. We might find this whole other species.
Yeah, there's
right?
lots of missing links.
There's always going to be missing links. You're missing links. You're never going to have this perfect tree because that's the beauty of it. We might, oh my Lord, there's another one, right? What you're not going to find is Homo erectus in the very first strata of the earth. You're never going to find that.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You're never going to find any fossil in the wrong place. Right? It's just not going to happen. We never have found one, and we won't find any. And, again, everyone's going to be like, oh, how do you know we won't? If we do, I will instantaneously, as fast as anything can be, if you show me actual evidence, right? I'll have to read the evidence. I'm not just going to be like, oh man, that guy over there said it, so it's got to be true, right?
I'll have to be there.
No, I'll just have to read the evidence. Right. Yeah, I'll have to look at it, and if that happens, boom, done.
Right.
Shot in the foot. Evolution is so not true, and I'm willing to have that argument. That's fine. I'm not scared of that. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm not scared of it.
Yeah.
I just don't get, you guys are hanging, and I know maybe not you, but you guys are hanging your hat on this young earth where God created man, and you just sound so dumb. And you get these really smart guys to go that way because I don't know what they're afraid of. You just sound so stupid.
They're afraid they're going to have to compromise their faith or their belief in Scripture, and it's interesting, man. It really is, because like my grandfather is he's a retired lieutenant colonel from the Air Force. He was in 3 branches of the military. He was a PhD in 2 different things and taught Old Testament, and he's a big young earth guy, and I think a lot of this goes back to when these battles first started being fought, the lines started being drawn, people retreat to foxholes, what I'm saying? So like when they took prayer out of schools, and whether you believe that should have happened or not, when things like that start happening culturally, what happens is people retreat back,
I agree.
They draw their battle lines and they aim and they fire, and so my grandfather's one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life, and we just disagree about the age of the earth, what I'm saying? So, and he's taking, in some ways, I got this wrong a few podcasts ago. I said Occam's razor in reference to Pascal's wager. They rhyme. But, Occam's razor is basically the idea of, you take the simplest, most elegant, answer to the question. You know, if you have like a really complex answer to the question and you got a simple one, go with the simple one. You know, go with the elegant one. You know, and I think sometimes what believers do, what Christians do, is they go, it says a day, so it's a day, man. It's a day, and it's, you know, so it's young earth. It's got to be 10,000 years, and all those genealogies in the Bible, that they were including every person in that family, and so all we can get to is 10,000 years or 6,000 years or whatever. You know, and those aren't things those are not hills I'm willing to die on. Because I think those are big assumptions to make. You know what I'm saying? So I will tell you the place where I struggle is like, so Francis Collins gets there very easily to say at this point when there was probably, again, I can't remember if it's 15,000 or 150,000 human beings as we understand human beings. At that point, God decided to endow, after guiding that process and all that kind of thing, God decided to endow men and women with His image and made us self-aware and a soul and all those things that we talk about. You know, in the Bible, you have Jesus refer to Adam. You have.
Sorry, I'm playing footsie.
You're good. You have Paul refer to Adam as a historical, you know, person. And so for me, theologically, I have to do some really heavy thought to go, what are the consequences of that theologically if Adam and Eve weren't the only two people that we came from? You know, again, I don't think this does, you know, any real disservice to my faith or whatever, but I have to think about it, you know. But so you'll find guys, you know, who have just staked their ground, and they're not going to think about anything new. They're not going to question their beliefs at all, and they're afraid to do it. And I think that's a big problem with Christians. One of the things that frustrates me, and you brought this up on the Facebook page, man, you asked, you know, I'm reading Francis Collins' book. How many of you are willing to go read, you know, stuff from the other team? And I saw some answers from people that just drives me nuts. It's like, you know, one person even said, you know, I just trust Scott with whatever he says or whatever. I say all the time up front, don't take my word for it. Go figure this out on your own. Go, you know, don't even trust necessarily what I say about Jesus. Go read it in the Bible. I want you to go to the Bible. I want you to go to these other things. So I think Christians historically in our country recently have done a really poor job of being willing and open to read, to explore, to learn, to understand. And I think there's been some cultural contributing factors to that aren't entirely Christians' fault, but it's still on us. You know, we should be, I think Christians have a biblical mandate to be just badasses at everything they do. You know, I mean, the Bible actually tells us whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as though working for the Lord, not for men. Whatever you do, whether you're a plumber, whether you're a baker, or whether you're a cage fighter, you better go out there and try to be the absolute best that you can be. And I think Christians have really done a poor job in that in a lot of ways, you know, and science being one of them.
I love that. I love that, right? Yeah. And yes, I love this part of the Bible, you know?
Yeah.
I don't hate the whole Bible.
I know you don't.
And I don't think... So we've had these arguments, right? Like where with morals and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. The morals that Christians try to push, for the most part, like, are pretty good.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah,
they're pretty good.
They're kind of base level.
Yeah, they're base. Yeah.
Steal stuff.
Yeah, they're man, don't sleep with another man's wife. Yeah. Like, yeah, these are pretty good morals. Mm-hmm. I don't think they have anything special to do with Christianity. You know, that's where we did.
There's a lot of there's a lot of religions that say the same thing. Yeah.
So, man, it's awesome. This is one of my problems with people in general, is that they try to be okay at everything. Mm-hmm. Just be good at something.
Yeah.
Just like we talked about earlier, I can't fix my car to save my life.
Yeah.
Right?
That's why I had to pick you up.
That's why you had to pick me up today, right? I can't fix my car. Mm-hmm. But there's people that can.
Yeah.
You know what I can do? I don't even run a business that well.
Yeah.
I'm just learning.
Yeah.
Right? I'm just learning how to do this business thing. Mm-hmm. I can do some jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. I can teach some jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I can relate to people pretty decently.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So I just stick with those things. Mm-hmm. Right? I just stick with those things and I'm good with them. My barbecue's getting getting pretty good. You know? So man, I agree with you. I wish that Christians and people of all faith wouldn't hang their hat on this. Right? Because this is one of my core four. Mm-hmm. Right? Of why Christians bug the hell out of me.
What's your other three?
My other three is gay marriage.
Okay.
Right? Stem cell research.
Okay.
What's my other one? Oh, and just the overall idea that you are going to be like your way of thinking is going to be put into this whole country. It just kills me. It just absolutely kills me. Just let people be. Just let people be. Let people do their thing, you know, and it's okay, right? We have laws, right? You can't kill, you can't rape, you can't murder, you know what I mean? You can't do a lot of things, right? That should protect society pretty well, you know, for the most part, or we're going to go extinct.
We're gonna screw
but we don't know. We just don't know, and we have to ride this out, you know. And this whole country, America, right? And this is part of my problem is everyone's like America. This is for America, you know. It is founded on the idea. The whole reason we're here is because of religious persecution. People wanted to leave, right? So let people come here. Let people believe what they want to believe. The laws of the country can't be based on a religion, and people, and this is why this is my second reason why I'm so big about evolution, is one, it's very religious based, okay, ID, intelligent design, creationism, right, and two, it makes us dumber, right, it makes us dumber, and I don't mean to call anybody dumb, right?
Well, I think maybe what you mean to say, maybe you don't, so clarify. I don't think it makes us dumber if we're willing to explore philosophy, explore religion, explore science, explore all of it. But don't just go.
Don't just stop.
Yes, and so I don't think teaching intelligent design by nature makes people dumber. If you teach intelligent design at the exclusion of everything else, then yeah, it makes you dumber because you don't know how to do anything else, you know, or know anything about anything else.
Teaching creationism
in the
way that they want to teach it makes us dumber. In the way that that people believe that we didn't. You
have to ignore a lot of scientific stuff.
A lot.
I agree.
And there's more science, and people don't understand the amount of science that backs up evolution.
Sure.
I'm going to ask all of you a question. Do you, when you go to the doctor because you are sick and you have a bacterial infection, the doctor prescribes to you antibiotics?
Right.
Yes? What does he say to you when he gives you the prescription?
I don't go to the doctor, so I don't know.
He says to you, make sure you take all of this.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Don't stop when you feel better. And the reason he tells you that is evolution. Because the bacteria change. They mutate. Right? Mm-hmm. And mutate is just a bad word for evolve.
Yeah, right? Francis Collins is funny because I did want to throw this out to everybody, and this ties into what you're saying.
Let me finish real fast.
Oh, man,
so all of you believe in evolution. If you take all of your antibiotic, you believe in evolution because if you didn't, you wouldn't take it.
Yeah. Watch this thing that Francis Collins does. You can go to YouTube, and it's for the Veritas Forum. Veritas means truth, but it's called The Language of God.
You want me to watch it right now?
No,
how long is it?
Now it's long.
Okay.
It's an hour and 30 minutes. The Language of God, a scientist presents evidence for belief. So everybody go check that out. It's really well done. 49 minutes in, he gives kind of a cool outline for what he basically believes. But one of the things he says in there is he says, basically, I'm looking at all mutants today.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And he was like, you could hear people go, what does he think? He goes, most of you are white. And he goes, you're white like me. He's like, that's a mutation. He's like, that's a genetic mutation. Like, we did not all begin as white people. Like, when people moved up into Northern Europe, this changed. People became white, basically, because if you were dark-skinned in Europe, you could develop rickets, which would make it harder for you to actually have kids. And so, there you go, you know. But again, here's a believer who's absolutely, bought in, like, and sees no conflict with his belief, and isn't afraid to be one of the, he's one of the top scientists in our world today, So the other guy that's been helpful to me is a guy named John Sailheimer, who wrote a book called Genesis Unbound. It was written in '96, so some of the stuff that he talks about scientifically is actually outdated.
Yeah,
and that's the crazy thing, man. 96 is
This is what's great about science, though. This is what's great about it is, like, we're willing to change our mind, right? And I know it always comes off that I hate Christians, right?
I don't think it does.
I hope it doesn't.
I think people get
because I don't, because I don't hate any group of people. Right. Maybe the Nazis. Okay? I hate
those guys who smoke the electronic cigarettes.
I drove by one of those this weekend too. A store. No, it was a store. I almost went in. I don't hate you. I don't hate anybody. I just want you to look at the evidence. Yep. Look at the evidence that's placed in front of you. believe as much as you believe. I'll say it again. Joe Biden said it best in an interview. He goes, and I'm not getting political.
I just like Joe Biden because he's such a loose cannon.
He is, man. He's crazy.
Soundbite waiting to happen.
Boom.
Yeah.
Right. And he says some dumb things, but this was one of the best things that he said. And it was a talk about abortion. Oh, it was abortion was my fourth one. Sorry, did I say that or no?
No, you didn't.
Yeah, it was abortion. I don't agree with it. My God tells me that it's wrong, right? But my God isn't your God, and my God isn't his God. And maybe that we are the same. Maybe we do have the same God. Just let each person's God be their God.
Yeah, he pissed me off when he said that, though, because it was so inconsistent. I think you should call him a hypocrite for saying that.
I don't care, because he says some dumb things, right? But that's the point. I'm not going to tell you what to believe. Please don't tell me what to believe.
You will on certain things, though, and this will take us back to another podcast. Like, it's not okay for the Nazi to believe what he believes.
No, because it kills people.
Right. And I would say Biden's being a hypocrite because he's saying my church tells me that abortion's not okay, but you should go ahead and be able to kill your baby. I think he's a hypocrite when he says that.
You have bifurcating but we'll have to have abortion on a different day, right? Because this is going to be another hour, right? The abortion thing's all determines when you believe the concept of life starts.
Absolutely,
right?
Which I think we have great scientific evidence for.
So we can look at that, right? We can look at that, but the point is just let everybody have their faith, or lack thereof, and then just go from there. Yeah. Right, and agree to get along. Scott's going to come over and probably watch some football. I'll make some barbecue,
Yeah.
And
yeah, I think this podcast is a good example of maybe what I would surprising
love.
To some people.
Yeah, what I would love that you're open to this idea, and that you've probably evolved in your beliefs since.
Oh, totally. Growing up in the Bible Belt and things like that. Again, with the grandfather, this was a big deal too. And. You get brought up, and I got kicked out of the Christian school that only taught creation, and stuff like that. And so, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. I understand why it's a problem to not look at everything, and it's a problem to be afraid. The reality is, folks, if you believe in God, guess what? He's a big boy. You're not going to go discover something that's going to rock his world or transform him, or he's going to disappear. If he's there, you shouldn't be afraid of a damn thing. I mean, that's why should you be? I agree with you. Why should you be? You shouldn't be. So go learn. Go explore.
Because you're good. You can do whatever you want.
Well, no, that's not. You're trying to take me to another place. All right, I guess this is a good place to wrap up. I got to pee again.
Me too.
I've been drinking coffee.
Very few F-bombs again.
Yeah, well done. Yeah. Well done. You've taken an even keel course here.
Yes. I tried to let you talk a little more, make your whole points.
People are very worried about me.
I know.
I'm not getting enough words. And I've never in my life been accused of being patient until this podcast came along. You have drawn the virtue of patience out of me somehow.
Fire marshal experience, baby.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. I don't know. So, all right, Saint in the Center. That was episode 5. Again, thanks to Hank, and thanks to Jay, who's still in Middle America with his Budweiser raised, saying down with the communists.
Hell yeah. Guys, just a quick note too. We are releasing on Sunday, right, Hank?
Yep.
So it'll be out Sunday night, so that you can drive to work on Monday morning and listen to us. You don't have to wait until Tuesday, right? You don't have to wait until Tuesday. We got that suggestion, and we evolved our beliefs on when we should release the podcast.
Go on Facebook, share it, and go to the website and pass it around, and hit us up on Twitter and all that good stuff.
All right, guys, take care. Have a good week.
Peace.